Here's a mind-bending statistic. Studies show that 80% of people would choose a different career path if money wasn't a factor in their decision-making. That's 4 out of 5 workers potentially in the wrong job.
Well, that's a pretty sobering number. Makes you wonder about all that untapped potential out there.
And what's really fascinating is how dramatically different these dream careers often are from people's current jobs. Like this tech architect I know who'd completely shift gears to restore vintage computers.
Tell me more about that transition. What drives someone to make such a dramatic switch?
Well, he explained it as moving from abstract to tangible work. Instead of building theoretical systems for future scale, he'd be working with his hands, solving physical problems, preserving computing history. The skills are similar, but the purpose is completely different.
That's such an interesting shift, from creating new to preserving old. You know, it reminds me of this growing right to repair movement.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how this pattern keeps showing up. When you remove money from the equation, people tend to gravitate toward work that's more hands-on, more connected to either community or craftsmanship.
So, what would your dream scenario be if all financial constraints disappeared tomorrow?
I've actually thought about this a lot. I'd want to be a community garden curator, creating these green sanctuaries in urban spaces where people could grow food and build connections. Recent studies show that community gardens can reduce neighborhood crime rates by up to 30% while improving mental health outcomes.
That's incredible data on the impact. How would that role differ from your current work?
Well, instead of measuring success through productivity metrics, it would be measured by community engagement and environmental impact. Did you know that a well-managed community garden can produce up to $500 worth of produce per season for each participating family?
Those are some compelling numbers, and it seems like there's this underlying theme of meaningful impact versus pure profit.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that when I think about it, I might actually work harder in this dream role. The difference is that every hour would feel purposeful because it aligns with my values.
You know, speaking of meaningful work, my dream would be to become a cultural music archivist, preserving folk recordings from different communities worldwide.
Oh, that's fascinating. And actually quite timely. I just read that we're losing traditional music at an alarming rate, with some estimates suggesting up to 20% of the world's musical heritage could disappear within a generation.
That's precisely why this work matters so much. Each recording captures not just music, but entire cultural narratives and historical moments.
It's striking how both our dream jobs involve preservation, you with cultural heritage, and me with natural spaces, and they both focus on making something valuable accessible to the community.
And neither one is about getting rich or achieving status. It's all about contribution rather than acquisition.
You know what's really telling? A recent survey found that 65% of millennials would take a pay cut to work for a company that better aligned with their values. We're seeing this shift toward meaning over money play out in real time.
So how do we take these insights and apply them to our real lives where we still have bills to pay?
Well, research suggests that incorporating even small elements of your dream job into your current work can increase job satisfaction by up to 40%. I might not be able to quit everything to start a community garden, but I could initiate a small herb garden project in my neighborhood.
That makes sense. Using these dream scenarios as a compass rather than an all or nothing proposition.
And sometimes those small steps lead to bigger opportunities. I know someone who started volunteering at a community garden and ended up transitioning to paid work, coordinating garden education programs. Now she makes 70% of her previous corporate salary, but reports twice the job satisfaction.
That's encouraging. It shows how following our genuine interests, even in small ways, can open up new possibilities.
The key insight seems to be that understanding what draws us to these dream jobs can help us make better choices about our careers and time allocation, even within our current constraints.
Like using them as a guide to identify what truly matters to us beyond the paycheck.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real value of this whole thought experiment, recognizing our deeper motivations and finding ways to honor them, even if we can't completely restructure our lives overnight.